From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, corner pocket.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com is the website. Subscribe to our website, which is warchant.com. It still is only $1. Crazy enough, Corey, a couple people DM'd, I think, the official Warchant account, like, what's going on? My login's not working on Rivals. What's the deal? I don't see you guys. Well, we're over on On3 now. But this is open to everybody out there that's a Florida State fan, or even if you hate Florida State but you just want some intel. LSU fans starting to listen to us. We're getting some juice now in the Tiger community talking about their quarterback. It's $1. Warchant.com for an entire year. Do it. Sign up for it. Hold on to it till Christmas. Give it to somebody as a Christmas gift. Stocking stuffer. Be ahead of the game, everybody. There's all sorts of creative ways you can use this $1 subscription to benefit somebody special in your life. Do it. Right, Corey?
Absolutely. Just type in warchant.com because you don't want to do that. You don't want to have a bookmark saved where you start to type in Warchant and it just automatically it populates on there for you and it takes you to a place we aren't there anymore. Yeah. So get fresh with it. And I don't mean that way, get fresh with it. I mean it's got to be a fresh set of eyes. Yeah. You just plop in there. You delete everything, you type in warchant.com, or if that doesn't work and it still takes the old site, which would be weird, but Shanna says that happens on her browser, just go into Google and type in, well, Shanna's a technophobe, Warchant on 3. O-N, the letter 3, Warchant.
The letter 3?
The number 3. You guys know what I mean.
The numeral.
This ain't Sesame Street. Warchant on 3, and then Google that, and it'll take you right to our site. You just click on the $1 for 12 months, and you're all set. You get to listen to stuff like this. You get to read insights from Ira, the 3-2-1 that Ira does every week, which is a huge hit. My columns after games and pre-games. Sometimes people read those. We got Langston's recruiting stuff. We got Gene chiming in on the boards with all the little nuggets, the morsels that you're not getting on this show. You're not getting elsewhere. You only get if you're a member of Warchant. So get on there. It is a $1
that was a big
$1
pitch.
investment.
I really just wanted like a 5-second, do it, everybody. But you went full. We're on the car lot. We got to hit quota for the month. I'm
trying to be I'm trying to be the employee of the month, not just for Warchant, but for all of On3.
What do you think about instead of there's nuggets? What if it was like dot bombs?
Ooh, there you
Gene
go.
just drops boom. We're getting out of the ACC, going to the SEC. Dot bombs.
There you go. That's not a bad idea. Why did it take you this long to come up with it?
I don't know. I saw it in a crossword puzzle hint.
There you go. Plus, they got to be bombs, like Woj bombs, or like, hey, Kevin Durant's choosing the Warriors or something. They can't be like
CJ Campbell's out for the year. No offense to CJ.
Hey, no offense to CJ Campbell, but also that's a negative bomb. You don't want negative bombs. You want them to be positive.
Okay. All right. Again, we are brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida. Check out the website cptallybar.com. Pull out the phone, hit the QR code, goes right to the website. You can check out their daily lunch specials. You can place your order online. Go right up to the bar, pick it up, get on with your day. But we think you'll probably want to stick around and hang around at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Stick around, hang out with us all day long. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock. Then we'll be back live this evening, 6 p.m. Wednesday, for a live show, which will be also powered by our good friends at DeLuna Coffee. They got the bundles going on, everybody. Go to DeLunaCoffee.com, get a bundle, get your tumbler, all that sort of stuff. So without further ado, let's get to the news of the day, I guess, which was practice that we saw on Tuesday. We'll share our observations from that after practice. We had Norvell for about 13 minutes. We did a breakout story on the fact that C.J. Campbell, again, the running back, I think a walk-on out of Panama City Beach, who'd kind of come on pretty strong. Actually, I take it back. Either Panama City, somewhere Panama City-ish area. I know there's Panama City and Panama City Beach are two different places. I don't want to give undue credit to the town that didn't help raise that young man.
Sure.
But apparently got banged up in the scrimmage, out for the season. And then enter Josh Burrell, who has now moved from wide receiver to running back and had a pretty good little day. Now, listen, we like what they got at running back in Toafili, who Norvell called maybe the most improved player of the entire camp this offseason. We like Trayshawn Ward. Trey Benson's very enticing. So, if Josh Burrell doesn't go out there and look like, Greg Jones reincarnate, don't come at us saying, you said he had a good day. Yeah, it was one good day of practice. But that's good for that kid, though, right, man? Because I think Ira said that he thought he had a pretty decent camp, but I thought it had been kind of up and down. And, they've got wide receiver figured out, but they don't really have tight end figured out all that great. And, maybe this running back thing is kind of, all right, let's get the running back feel and touch, and then maybe we can also add some mass and then have him become like the H-back, 3-back, whatever they like calling it. So good for him, right? In a day where guys cut and run, Corey, in a day and age when guys cut and run, he adapts and evolves. Shout out.
At least for the next few months, right?
Yeah.
Then we'll see where Josh's head is around Thanksgiving. But yeah, man, and it was I'll be honest with you, he made more plays in one practice, noticeable plays.
Yes.
And maybe it's more touches. Like you're playing running back, you're going to get more touches, especially if they're trying to load manage some other guys maybe. They want to give a lot of guys some work because technically you're more than anything, you're kind of working on just what the offensive line is doing. So you need bodies back there, and now they still got 5 of them, 6 of them, whatever the number is, but he was getting some touches. And like he ran just like a normal off tackle play. It might have been it wasn't a toss sweep. It's not 1988, but it was a play off right tackle where, man, he had vision. He made he saw the hole. He put his foot in the ground, found the hole, made somebody miss in the hole. Like he looked like a run. He didn't look out of place at all. Like he looked natural with it. So much so that he changed his number to 12. And if I hadn't have known that was him, which I thought it was him, we'd gotten a little, a whisper that this might have happened. So I wasn't completely, taken aback when I saw this. I'd have been like, who is number 12? Like, where did this guy come from? Like, he really did. He made 3 or 4 plays, like, out of the backfield, catching the ball, which, that should be a strength at his new position. But he also just straight running back stuff. Looked pretty good, man, especially for somebody his size. He looked more athletic as a running back hitting a hole, in my opinion, than he had all season, all fall camp being a wide receiver, if that makes any sense at all. Like, it just felt like it fit. His athleticism fits this position a little better than it was fitting at wide receiver.
Thoughts on Lawrence Toafili, Corey? You've always had a little soft spot for old LT, Pinellas Park's finest. I kind of realized what my environment was. Not a lot of great collegiate football players coming out of Pinellas County over the last 25 years. More so than recently, there's been a little bit of a renaissance, so maybe Lawrence is part of it. Because shout out Tyler Higbee, Eastlake High School, now world champion with the St. Louis Rams. Mason Cole, Eastlake High School, Michigan, and then Arizona now. I think he's at Arizona. But to hear him called like the most improved player maybe this entire camp, that makes things pretty enticing, pretty interesting, right? Because we felt good about a lot of pieces. I mean, let me pull them up here on the preseason top 40 if I still have the list in front of me here. Toafili checked in at 31. Meanwhile, you got Trayshawn Ward 14th. I thought old Trey was high on this list. I can't find him right now. He wasn't below.
I can promise you Trey Benson's on that list.
Oh. He must have been in the
probably
top.
Higher.
It must have been like within the top 10 because I don't have picks 1 through 8. That's crazy. He was that high on our list? Never mind. 12th. There he is, right. He's in bold. Figure it out, Aslan. So
Get
Trey
your
Benson
mind
was
right, Aslan.
Benson was 12th, Trayshawn Ward 14th, and then we got Lawrence Toafili 31st, and then his head football coach says he might be the most improved player. Just everything's kind of clicking. That's good. We like to hear that.
It is. It's hard to rank a third what you envision being a third string running back higher than 30 if you have any team that if you have a team that's worth anything. But I don't know. I've seen so much from him this camp, and again, this was unsolicited. This wasn't me asking Mike Norvell about Toafili. He just brought him up, and I think he was going back over the scrimmage and talking about some of the highlights of the scrimmage. And it sounds like Toafili had a nice scrimmage, and I thought he was really good out in Jacksonville, didn't you? Like, yes. I thought he was the guy that was – him and Rodney Hill I thought were the most noticeable of the bunch. But Toafili especially, and he had some – even the day after Jordan Travis lit it up passing, the next day when they didn't throw as well, I guess that was the Thursday. Maybe that was the Thursday in Jacksonville. Toafili still had a bunch of nice long runs. And I just – he does look different. And I actually talked to Trayshawn Ward about it after Norvell said that. basically, like, have you noticed, Coach Norvell said Toafili is one of the most improved players on the team. Have you seen that? What have you seen from him? And he's like, yeah, definitely. He goes, he's taken the weight room seriously. And so he has gotten stronger. He's breaking tackles now. Guys are kind of bouncing off him, but he hasn't lost any of his speed. He might have even gotten faster. Like, he's a fast dude. Like, he's not just a shifty dude, but that can't run straight ahead. I mean, he gets the corner, and guys have angles, and he makes the angle disappear. He looks. I'm starting to think that it's a trio, a legitimate trio, and you're talking about if your running backs get 40 touches a game, I'm starting to think it's almost going to be 13, 13, and 13, and then give Rodney Hill 1. Or Burrell, who knows what they're going to do there. But that's how impressive Toafili has been, in my opinion, these 3 weeks. He has been, I'll be honest, in my opinion, of these last 2 weeks, he's been the most impressive running back they've had. Not saying he's going to be once the season starts, but I feel like he's done the most things in practice that make you say, wow, okay, there's something. Like, Toafili is not just a name you're just like, you shouldn't roll your eyes. Like, it really sounds like Norvell, like, it sounds like me and Mike are on the same page here, Aslan. Like, I've talked about Toafili, and it sounds like he's certainly noticed him, and you start to get the impression this isn't a dude that just comes in on third down and you put out in the slot and try to get a mismatch with a linebacker. You have him run out of the flat to try to get that mismatch. He's a guy that could play 30 snaps a game, maybe. And last year it felt like, what do you think he played last year? Like 12, 8? He just wasn't on the field a lot. Yes. I think he's a guy that is really a part of their plans.
Speaking with the offense, keeping it there, Mike Norvell's comments, looking at the offensive line on tape during the scrimmage. Kind of excited, he said, about what Darius Washington was able to do for them. Darius Washington was, about 20 reps or so he got in the scrimmage, and then he kind of came out full bore on Tuesday, so that made the coach happy. Look, we've seen this offensive line here in like the last 7-10 days kind of evolve a little bit, if you will, in terms of what we might have anticipated going into camp or what we anticipated after the first week of camp. But there's a point there now where they're getting a little bit closer to what they want to look like, what they want to be. They're starting to actually run some scout team stuff, which is what you do when you're in game week. They are not in game week yet. That would be next week. But, you see Darius out there plugged into certain spots, and you're like, you know what, man, this is still okay. I think they're all right still. And it's pretty crazy that this kid who at one point was brought in as a tackle prospect and is kind of thrust into duty in 19, if I'm not mistaken, as a true freshman, gets his shoulder banged up, COVID years, a little bit up and down for everybody. And then last year he's trying to kind of find his way and dealing with some stuff. To kind of see him out there, and you're like, all right, man, like this looks off the hoof of like a capable offensive line, and it kind of it goes to prove or speaks at least a little bit to the fact of this whole depth thing, right? I mean, guys are going down, it's next man up, and it's serviceable. It's good. I mean, it's good. It's more than serviceable. It's good. It's good.
Yeah. I think you have, somebody like Turnentine. Mike Norvell mentioned Turnentine and Bless Harris as guys that he thought had good scrimmages. I asked him, looking at the film, who kind of stood out that maybe he didn't notice. I mean, it's hard to notice who's having a good day at the offensive line until you watch the film, usually, if you're standing on a sideline anyway. And he mentioned those two by name, Turnentine and Bless Harris, and he said they flipped them. Like the part of the line of scrimmage that they've been playing, if they've been playing on the right side most of the camp, they switched them and made them play left, or vice versa, both of them, to get them used to, okay, we might need you in a pinch at one spot or another. And he said he was really pleased with how both of them played. And then, he said Darius Washington played, I don't remember what he said, like 16 to 20 snaps. I can't remember what the number was, but he did give a number about how many snaps he played, and said that was huge for them. It was a spark for them. It was a spark for their offensive line. And, man, think about that. Like, I would say – I don't know, man. I would say a week ago, we probably thought Darius Washington was not going to be part of the starting rotation necessarily. And this is a kid.
I had no idea where he would even be used.
Right, we didn't know where he'd fit. And this is a kid that I think has like 16 starts, 15 starts, something like that. And he's still just a sophomore. Like, he's still technically a redshirt sophomore. And Norvell was talking about him at practice on Monday and said, the fact that he had I can't remember what his injury was last year. It was lower body. They're vague with their injuries, but it was a lower body injury, he said, but that actually, it kind of helped Darius in the sense that during the offseason and then spring, he couldn't do much with his lower half, but he did a lot with his upper half, and he got much stronger. He got in the weight room, and he goes, he's over 300 pounds now. And then he laughed. And he goes, I don't even want to admit what he weighed at in some of those games he played last year. Which
was a good soundbite, but part of me is like, well, then let's make this stop happening. I'm not blaming anybody or pointing fingers, but
it was the shoulder, right? Like he couldn't lift because of his shoulder.
In 19, I know he missed the end of 2019 because I remember seeing him in the swamp with his arm in his sling. That was 2019, but I don't know what else he was dealing with last season. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. Let's figure out a way to get these guys that even if they get hurt and can't work out probably for 2 or 3 weeks, are not dropping weight this bad. But anyhow,
well, no, he wasn't here in 2019 , was he?
Yeah, man,
he's been here that long.
Yes, Willie, freaking the swamp. Odell, interim coach. I'm on the freaking.
Oh, Darius. So Darius has been here. So he's still just a red shirt. Yeah, because I guess he got a year back. It didn't count. That's crazy. So yeah, but anyway, so he had the shoulder issue. So he, that's the problem when you play that young. When you play young as an offensive lineman, a true freshman, you're going to get beat up. And he couldn't put on the weight and the strength that he was supposed to put on because he was having to rehab and get healthy. Now, because of that lower half injury, he could get stronger. And he could get bigger. And now he's over 300 pounds. And now you're pretty big. You're pretty big on the offensive line now. You don't look different. You look like you fit in, right, Aslan?
Yes.
You look like a normal college football offensive line. And they had some nice moments in Jacksonville running the ball. They apparently had some nice moments in the scrimmage Saturday night. And I thought on Tuesday. I think I said Monday earlier, too. It's Tuesday that we saw them practice for the first time in a while. Did I thought they had some nice moments running the ball on Tuesday as well? Like they're opening up some things against a pretty good defensive line. So that's really encouraging, man. And I think they've held up in pass protection too. They just have guys that have played more. And something we talked about on headlines Tuesday is that you look at the young guys, the guys that probably aren't going to play a ton this year. They might get in the mix a little, but guys like Kamaya Charlton, Julian Armella, they're not probably going to play a ton unless things go drastically wrong. But, man, don't they look the part too?
Hey, man.
Don't they look like the real deal? And imagine them a year or two from now after getting this kind of experience where they're not thrown into the fire, but they get to learn not only from Alex Atkins, but all these dudes in front of them, Robert Scott, Darius Washington, Dylan Gibbons, Maurice Smith, that have played so much football. They get to learn from these guys, man. Bless Harris, Turnentine, all these guys have played Manuel. They've all played a ton of football, and these young guys get to learn from them. I just think that's invaluable, and that will really help Florida State down the road because I think they got some dudes in this recruiting class, the 2022 class, that are going to be really good up front. Maybe they're actually going to be not just a serviceable, solid, decent offensive line, but in 2 years, an actual good dominating offensive line.
Yeah, man. Kanaya Charlton got some burn with the ones in Saturday scrimmage, so he's not ready, but Alex Atkins is not afraid to use him, so that is very encouraging. Again, to see those guys that young be ready because, yeah, man, like Darius was thrust into action as a freshman in 19. He played 255 reps. He started against Syracuse, Miami, and Boston College. I don't even remember playing. We played Syracuse week 9 in 2019. I don't remember that. Literally don't remember anything about that game.
Where was it? Was it here?
Yeah.
They must have won, right?
Yeah, because then the next week they lost to Miami, and then that was it for Willie. It was curtains.
Yeah. What was that game? You're right. I don't remember anything about it either. I wonder if Hornswoggle had a big day,
I think
or if that was Blackman.
Something happened in the Syracuse game. We're like, oh, this offense, might be a spark back. It's like, probably not. Probably not.
I bet it was Hornibrook. Like Hornibrook came in and did some things maybe, and you're like, okay. Because there had to be a reason they started him against Miami, even though he couldn't throw the ball more than 28 yards downfield. So he must have played well against Syracuse. That's my guess.
Oh, man.
That is crazy, though. I'll tell you everything you want to know about the 91 Syracuse game in Doak, though. Quadri Ismail taking a kickoff to the house. T-Buck with a crazy interception.
Yeah, the missile. Cam had a big game in that one. 35-17. He had 4 touchdowns, 20 carries, 144. Hornibrook, 15 of 26 for 196.
But lighten it up.
Come back, sweet prince. Come back to us. Tamorian Terry, 2 catches, 84 yards. So, yeah, look at that, man.
Sounds about right.
Florida State, back when we used to be cutthroat, you'd win a game 35-17, then you come back to next week and you lose to Miami, you lose your job. But now it's
Yeah.
like, give him time. We're good. He's our guy.
Growing up, my dad used to take me to the game at the stadium. We'd watch our favorite team play, and then we'd always eat at Zaxby's. That's why it means so much to me that Zaxby's is the official chicken of college fans. To me, they go together perfectly. It reminds me of my dad and...
Oh, come on, Ref! Are you serious? Get some glasses! Terrible call!
Now I take my kids to the game, and we always eat at Zaxby's too. It's tradition.
We're proud to be the official chicken of college fans. Zaxby's, indescribably good.
And don't forget to listen in for the Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week every Monday on Wake Up Warchant.
Hey, I brought this up. It's not really, I'm not trying to be provocative, but I did it on headlines. I feel like I do it on this show too.
Do it.
Because somebody asked about, we were talking about 2023, and because my point was if they have a decent season this year, 8-4.
Yes.
Let's say they go 8-4 and hit the mark that we've all set for having what we would call a decent season. If they go 8-4, there's a good chance they bring almost everybody from the offense back. Maybe you lose the quarterback, but maybe he has a really good year and likes it and wants to go do it again, as opposed and get that NIL money, as opposed to just take a shot that somebody might draft him. You lose Dylan Gibbons, you lose Jordan Travis, maybe Jordan Travis. Let's count him out. So you lose Dylan Gibbons and I think Cam McDonald, and that would be it. Everybody else would be coming back from an 8-4 team, a bowl team, maybe a 9-win team if you count the bowl. You would go into 2023 with real expectations, not just let's be better, but like let's contend for something. Let's build. This is building towards something. This is going to be your 2012 year where you've got all this experience back on offense. You've got some young talent on defense. Now you'd be losing Jamie Robinson, the 2 tackles, Bethune. I guess probably about it. I mean, those are big. Those are a big 4, but you're losing those guys. But you might be returning let's say 16 starters from a team that went 8-4. Man, the expectations around here would start to feel like they used to, right? Can you see that?
That's provocative.
No. I was going to make another point after that, but
okay.
I got interrupted.
I guess
there.
I follow that, but then we're like, they'll lose this guy. It's like the quarterback's important, though, right? I mean, if they do lose him, and we do like what we've seen from Tate, so I don't want to have it both ways. But no, that's fair. Yeah, you return that amount of production and important spots, your whole offensive line practically.
That's enormous. Like your offensive line might actually be good. And honestly, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback because obviously it does. But if you have a good offensive line, like one you can count on,
and a run game that you're really dedicated to and is pretty effective,
and 2 wideouts, maybe 3 wideouts, and Pittman, Wilson, Johnny, and I guess you'd lose Pokey too. But Johnny Wilson, Deuce Spann, Micah Pittman, Malik McLean, if they all can prove themselves to be more than adequate but good-ish college receivers. Hey, man, I'm saying I'm just spitballing here. Maybe if you don't like what the development of Tate Rodemaker, and there's no reason to think they don't, because Norvell even talked about him after Tuesday's practice about how much he's grown.
Different guy. He's a different guy.
But he's a different guy, which is fine. But if you're bringing all that talent back to an offense and Jordan does decide to bounce, well, guys in the portal, all of a sudden Florida State looks a little more appealing if you got 1 more year or 2 more years to go play quarterback. Plus, it'll help you recruiting quarterbacks. It'll help you recruit other wide receivers, because they see them being featured and shining. All of that would be a big deal if they can get to 8 wins and they're bringing most of the guys back in 2023. 2023 could be the year that Norvell takes the program to the next level, and then the recruiting follows. On the flip side, let's say they go 5-7, or this is the provocative part.
Thank you.
5-7, 6-6. Because this was part of the questions. Like somebody just basically in one of our questions was like, well, if Norvell goes 6-6 again, you're going to have to restart with a new coach. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that. Like my point was, do you want to go the Kentucky route? Like if Kentucky could have punted on Stoops in 2017 and nobody would have shrugged. Like, hey, man, you're not doing it. You've been to 1 bowl in 4 years. You keep losing to Florida. You haven't been very good. You haven't made us any better. Well, they stayed with him. They gave him a long leash, and now I think they won 10 games last year. They've been to a bowl 6 times in 7 years. He's having Twitter spats with Calipari. Like he's feeling emboldened. Like he's got himself a decent program, so they could go that route. And I said, me personally, I don't know. Even if you go 6-6 or 5-7, I don't know that it's best for the program to start over and just say we're done with this. if you believe in the guy that's leading the charge, if you believe in what he's doing and his vision. But out there is a guy that is probably going to go undefeated at Jackson State.
Oh.
And is your all-time best player. And he has some serious players there. So don't you think what's going to happen at Jackson State, and he wanted the job 3 years ago, that adds some, it's not even talked about, but it's like in the ether. It's just out there. That adds another layer to the pressure on Mike Norvell, because there is a guy out there that has now proven. I mean, he's going to go, Aslan, I think he's going to go like 21-1 in his 2 years, his 2 full years. I mean, I'm just assuming Jackson State's going to go undefeated, and I shouldn't, because FAMU gave them a game last year, man, and I'm rooting for you, Willie. I'm rooting for you, Coach Simmons. They only lost to them 7-6 last year, and FAMU's good, and they bring a lot back too. But if they beat FAMU, which is early, I think it's an early season game, they're probably going to go undefeated. So that would be, 11-1, followed by 12-0. And the way he's shown he can recruit at that school.
The SWAC is wacky, man. You can't count your chickens.
I know, but I got it.
I know you're saying.
I'm saying that is an element to the conversation that adds a little extra pressure. It would be like if Leonard had struggled for 3 years and Sam Cassell was going 29-4 at, I don't know,
Winthrop.
UTEP. Okay. Winthrop, yeah. If Sam Cassell was going 29-4 at or Bob Sura, Charlie, somebody like that, one of these all-time greats, was going 29-4 at Winthrop 3 years in a row, and Leonard struggling to get to the NCAA tournament. He's struggling to even get to the postseason. Man, that puts an extra element. That puts an extra an extra plate on the bar. Yeah. A little weightlifting reference.
Oh, look at our guy here.
See what I'm doing? That's how I live my life now.
I like it.
So I was just thinking about that the other night because I was watching this YouTube clip of Dion doing an interview from his home a few nights ago with their inside Jackson State athletics guy, and it was interesting enough. I mean, he opened up about his foot and everything, and I just thought, man,
yeah, has he got toes missing?
Yeah, I think right? Yeah, and he said that he thought there was a chance he could lose his life. There was a chance they were going to cut his leg off from the knee. All that stuff, and I didn't realize that he coached one of his games that year in a bed on the sideline.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I didn't remember that at all, but he was in a bed on the sideline, and he regretted it. He said his son, the quarterback, said, "Dad, I need you. You need to come. You need to come for this game." And so he went. And he's like, "It was a dumb decision. I shouldn't have done it. I did it because he asked me to, but in hindsight, that was really dumb." But man, if my man's sitting out there at 22-1, I'm just saying there might be a groundswell of
from who though? Former
players? I think if Florida State fans,
Rich
people
Eisen,
that matter.
I don't
think it's more. I think it's more than Rich Eisen. I look, man, I'm not going to just dismiss doing what he's doing at Jackson State.
I'm not either. I just don't. I don't know where this groundswell comes from. I know there's Florida State fans that. I mean, we got to remember.
Well, no, even the ground. I don't even know if the groundswell would be pro Dion. Like you go get Dion. I think it would be we need somebody else. This is year 3. He's 5-7, 6-6 again. The offense isn't getting any better. This recruiting class is top 28-ish. I'm saying if that keeps up, if he's top 25-ish, not top 10-ish, there will be added pressure on Mike Norvell. And I'm not saying one way or the other what they should do. I like to sit on the fence on those matters, folks. But I'm open to it. But I think that's just an element you got to think about. If you're quote unquote on the hot seat, and the guy at Jackson State's on won 21 or 22 games, and just got your best player, one of the best players recruits in school history, to come to his school instead of your school, that adds a different maybe it's a package deal. That adds something to it, man.
Yeah. A couple things.
But anyway, all that being said, they're going to go 8-4, and in 2023 they're going to go 11-1, and this is all moot.
Yeah. What I will say on that is, first off, Jay Hobson, look him up, everybody. Jay Hobson was like a longtime coordinator, position coach, goes to Alcorn State and turns them around, wins the SWAC like 2 years in a row, maybe 2 out of 3 years. Then he gets a job at Southern Miss and just doesn't work out, flames out, gets fired midway through, I think, last season, or maybe the COVID year he got fired. So, success in the SWAC really hasn't kind of portended to success at the next level. Our guy Mark Stoops, took over Kentucky, he goes 2-10 year one, then a pair of 5-7 seasons, and then a pair of 7-6 seasons, and then he wins 10 games in 18, 8 games in 19, COVID year, 5-6. Nobody's getting fired after 5. So I mean, I don't think Kentucky at any point was really that. I mean, really, could they've after what he goes 7-6 2 years in a row? Like, he's got a bowl game 2 years in a row, but we've lost the bowl game. We're gonna get rid of him. I don't see that happening. And just like Mark Stoops has won things. He's been programs that have won big at the Power 5 level. That's been my concern just about the long-term viability of this staff is that like no one's won anything. I mean, no one's been around any kind of championship caliber winning program. It's been the Todd Graham tree.
You talking about like high major? I mean, they played in the Cotton Bowl. He got a team to a Cotton Bowl, so it's not like and they won that conference, and they almost won the conference the year that UCF with Mackenzie Milton was actually good.
Well, they didn't.
They almost won but I mean, they did. They won it 1 year.
The year they didn't play UCF, the year they finally got to duck and dodge the team that constantly beat them and took them out of the conference championship game.
I mean, what did they go 12-2 that year? We don't have to. It wasn't their fault. UCF couldn't make the conference championship, but I mean, he did win a conference championship, and he almost won it. They competed for championships. But yeah, I mean, I get it. They haven't done anything at the major Power 5 level, but Memphis has been a better program than Florida State. The last 3 or 4 years.
And then the last thing, people then talk about, well, I don't want to be Tennessee. Like, I don't want to keep churning through coaches. We need to pick a guy, stability, stick through it with them. Which I get what you guys are saying, but listen, like, Derek Dooley was not a good coach. Derek Dooley, I think, is maxed out now as a tight ends coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Butch Jones, not a good coach. I mean, how long do you want them to keep guys that really have gone on and show they haven't been anything really all that great? Lane Kiffin at the time, immature, kind of a weirdo. But listen, he left to go to USC. They didn't fire Lane Kiffin. Lane left them and then figured things out after he got fired from Southern Cal. So the whole sort of I don't want to be Team X just firing coaches every 3 years because look what they're at now. It's like, well, look at the guys they fired and look where they're at now. Those were not good hires. So make a good hire. The problem with Tennessee isn't that they keep churning through coaches. They keep churning through bad coaches. I think they make bad hires. Figure out the profile of what you need. Look at what's worked around the country. Figure out what your needs are and what your constituency is, and then go and make it happen. And, Mike Norvell was not the first option. He wasn't. Plain and simple. He wasn't. But, hey, figure this out. You have to win 8 or so games because, you win 6. I just don't – how are you going to recruit on 6-6 with this team? How are you going to recruit I think the element that I was bringing up is, and again, I don't even like talking about this because I think they are
better.
Going. I love it.
But I think they are better. They're a better football team. He has made this roster much better than it was when he took over. It is night and day. The roster that he had for that Georgia Tech game, or like let's say the NC State game in 2020, compared to what they have now, it is a reclamation project that deserves a lot of kudos. It is a real college football roster. But wins matter. All this stuff matters. And I think the difference between Tennessee and the difference in this one is if Jackson State plays the way they have been playing. By the way, did you know they had Malachi Weidman? Do you remember that name?
Yeah, the kid from Sarasota, I think Riverview. Then I don't know where he ended up transferring, but yeah, he was supposed to maybe.
He was Tennessee. He went to Tennessee.
Yeah, he was supposed to be dual sport guy.
Yeah, he's a basketball player and a wide receiver. So their wide receiver crew is obviously Travis Hunter, Rico Powers, who played at South Carolina, the Kevin Coleman kid, and Malachi Weidman. Like, they have one of the better receiving corps in the country, probably talent-wise. I know a couple of them are true freshmen, but man, that is.
That's a double-edged sword then, because then we're talking about a guy beating. The reason he's winning is because he has far superior talent than everybody else he's playing.
But again, I guess that's kind of like some of those weren't transfers either. Like, if you can convince kids to come play at Jackson State, what do you do with the resources at Florida State? And again, these are questions that have to be answered by people that matter, and that's not me. But that's the difference between like a Kentucky job, a Tennessee job, or even the Florida State job 3 years ago. There was no like great alum that was out there doing great things where it seemed automatic. This, to me, is like a version of Link Jarrett. Like, what Dion is doing at Jackson State puts a little bit of extra pressure on Mike Norvell at Florida State, just like what Link Jarrett did at Notre Dame, put a lot of pressure on Mike Martin Jr. Now, So I just think maybe you're a little quicker. And I love Mike Norvell, and I want Mike Norvell to be here. I didn't have pictures of Mike Norvell on my wall as a kid. That was Dion. I get it. But I would love Mike Norvell to succeed here. I just think that is something that in November, if they struggle, that is going to be part of the equation. And I personally, I unless it just falls off a cliff, there is no chance I cut bait with Norvell. If he's anywhere near 6-6, or if they get to a bowl, I'm not cutting bait with Mike Norvell. But think about the strides they've made with this team, and if they don't even meet our low expectations of 7 or 8 wins, and now you're in year 3, going into year 4 with not a great recruiting class, that adds a different element to it to have somebody out there that will bring in players.
I
know that.
I don't know if this school has a stomach for Dion, which is crazy because he's ours. He's ours. It
would be a different deal altogether. But
and again, it's just crazy too. Like he inherited a 6-win team. He inherited a team that went to a bowl. Mike Norvell. They haven't been close to a bowl. I mean, I guess last year they could have won the last game of the season and made it to a bowl game.
Yeah,
so
they were close to a bowl, buddy. They were close to a bowl last year.
But that's it. I mean, so in year 3, he wins 8 games. Listen, like it's a luxury for him, man. Like he's in a good spot, I think. I mean, you tell me I have to win 8 games with this roster, this schedule, and I will be thought of as like moving on the upswing, creating good momentum, positive sort of outlook for the future. In year 3 at Florida State, all I have to do is that. Like, that's the thing. Like, I hope there's a second sense I get of a lot of people that like Mike Norvell, because I think they're like, hey man, I'm a 52-year-old dude. He's, he reminds me of like myself a few years ago when I was his age or whatever. Like, and I love his attitude and the climb and all this sort of stuff. I mean, they see this sort of big picture, and they're like, I think people are being unfair. Aslan, you're being unfair comparing him to Lane or Mel Tucker or whomever else has got hired in the same cycle that's been a little bit more successful than him. And I think it's unfair, but it's like, hey, man, if you could be at Florida State, we got rid of a guy midway through his second season because he wasn't successful enough, and you get to go 3 full seasons and like 7 wins keeps your job into a year 4. It's not. He just has no raw deal going on with Mike, everybody. I don't think it's, I think he has a pretty good setup right now, because the fact that we're not talking about, 5 wins being it's over, done, no way. Like, maybe just let's work through. Let's figure out some things.
And it's all crazy. To me, it really is all about the process. As much as, like, again, if they look, I hate to say this, but if they look competent, if they're in close games, if they're not getting blown off the field and they get unlucky, man, you could set your program back years by just cutting a guy that was you don't know, like, right? Like Kentucky would have had all the right in the world to fire Mark Stoops.
When?
And what would that have done for him?
When would they have fired him? He started off 2-10, goes 5-7 back-to-back years, then goes 7-6, 7.
Right there. Like,
you're Kentucky. You never make it to a bowl game. He just got you to a bowl game in year 4.
I mean, he went 6 and so after his 5th year at Kentucky, he went 6-6. Who did he replace? The guy he replaced wasn't doing any worse. Then that's an under 500 record after 5 years. And I know he's played in the SEC, but 6-6 in Kentucky after 5 years is his best record. That's not. You could understand at that moment after 2-10. He had 3 straight losing seasons and then 2 6-6s. You could understand that in the offense was always a joke. You could always say, all right, well, we gave him a shot. We got to go in another direction. Let's go get one of those sexy offensive coordinators that's going to put up 40 points a game. But they stuck with him, and it's worked out. He, to me, is kind of like Leonard at Florida State. The difference is Leonard got himself close to winning a national championship and COVID happened. I don't think that's ever going to happen at Kentucky, but there's similar situations. Being good at basketball at Florida State, being competitive is the same thing as being competitive at Kentucky, but there were people here that wanted to get rid of Leonard, even when he was, because he didn't go to the tournament 4 years in a row. They stuck with Leonard Hamilton. Then they had the best run of success in program history. So there is... If you believe in the guy, there is a positive, there is a benefit to sticking with him and being patient. The question that's always bumfuzzled ADs and the like and administrators forever is what's the fine line between being patient and ripping the Band-Aid off? Like that's what you've got to figure out. Like cutting bait.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to figure out. They cut bait clearly with Willie Taggart. They're trying to. I think they're going to go in an opposite direction and be patient with Mike Norvell. But again, it all matters on this season. This is such a big season for him, man. But again, like I said, there's an NFL Hall of Famer out there hovering in the distance that would love this job. I think anyway would love this job. That is about to go 11-1 or 12-0 for the second year in a row, and has more talent at the skill positions than you do at Florida State. And that's not, he has more talent at the skill positions than most Power 5 programs. So that's, that would be very enticing if you're still kind of limping along at 6-6. But that said, we all agree. I think you agree. I think Jeff Cameron agrees. Ira, Tom, I'll speak for all of Warchant. Mike Norvell has done a nice job of turning this thing around in the sense that it is foundationally solid now. He's got to influx this thing with talent. He's got to inject this thing with. That's the next step. Don't you think? You watch that team practice every day. You watch that team compete. I like the bones of this team. I like people say that the bones of this building are good. They're strong. They're solid. I like what he's done with that. The thing about Jimbo at the end was he had a lot of talent, but the bones were weak. And then Willie came in and inherited a weak bone team. And obviously that didn't go well, and it was still weak-boned when Mike Norvell took over. But now Mike Norvell took over a weak-boned team with not a lot of talent. I think he's got the bone strong again. He's got to go get the 4- and 5-star talent now. And if he doesn't, somebody else has to come in and do it. You can't keep recruiting 2.5 and 3 stars forever. That's the next step. But I really do like the way he's foundationally turned this thing around. And I do like the roster shakeup. He has done a good job. This is a better team. This team would beat the 2020 team by 35 points. They would be playing Tate Rodemaker midway through the third quarter if they played the 2020 team. That to me is a positive. But you still, at the end of the day, on Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays this season, you got to find a way to put W's on the scoreboard, or people aren't going to care about that. And that's how athletics works.
Yeah,
we made this a real show, Aslan. I thought we were just going to talk about practice.
Yeah, I can't move the field goal post that much, man. I think Sam Pittman took over a team that had some pretty weak bones, and he made into a bowl game in the SEC.
Let's see what Sam Pittman does this year, man.
I mean, my guy Lane was the third coach in 4 years at Ole Miss, and boom, year one hits the ground running, man. They had a lot of turnover at Ole Miss, man. They had to deal with NCAA investigations. I mean, listen, there's a lot of other guys that got hired in that cycle that had bad bone teams that didn't take calcium and had osteoporosis, but somehow got them to a bowl game year one. Year two, 10 wins. New Year's 6 bowls. Year 3, on the rise. I mean, we're sitting here get us to 8 wins. Again,
but don't you? I mean, you can't think that this team isn't on the rise.
They are, yes. But we're moving it's Florida State still, and I feel like I say that a lot. I'm I don't like when people we're Florida State. It's that doesn't mean anything. There's no. I mean, it matters to the fan base, but listen, you don't the spear doesn't come off the bus these days and just get you 6 points the way it used to back in the day. It doesn't matter anymore. But still, man, there's a tradition here of excellence. Again, we got rid of a guy midway through year 2 because it wasn't working out. And listen, it looks different. And I guess Corey's talking about it's process based, your decision making. You look at the way that Mike Norvell's process is going. He recruited a quarterback his own, which is Tate Rodemaker. He did not recruit Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis has gotten better the last 2 years that we've seen him as a starting quarterback, so that's a good thing. He's been able to use the portal, which wasn't available to his predecessor, and he's used it really well. There's no guarantee that Willie Taggart would have been able to get the guys here that Mike Norvell has. And overall, man, the guys perform well in the classroom. They're not doing anything knuckleheadish off the field. So you feel good about that. So I understand all that. But, man, you cannot be quoted. I know he's not the AD anymore, but your AD is quoted saying it comes down to W's and L's, and we're sitting here and we're going to talk. We're going to try to sort of, rationalize 6-6 in year 3. I don't want to be part of that podcast, but we won't be part of that podcast because they're going to win 8 games. And I'll find a way to feel good about 8 wins.
Well, I'm just saying, again, the whole point and it provoked the Bear. I just think if you finish 6-6 and the other guy's going 12-0, it's part of the conversation.
There's a conversation, yeah.
It's a part of the conversation. I'm not saying they should go either way. It would be a complete shift in access, I believe. But yeah, I think that's just part of the reality that Mike Norvell has right now, is that there is somebody out there that has the strongest ties you could have to Florida State.
You think that's in the back of his head?
Oh, no. I think it would be in the back of people that matters head.
Okay.
That's what I mean. No, I don't think Norvell better not be thinking about Dion. I hope he's not checking checking ESPN
he's checking out the scores. Like, what's
I will say this: there is no doubt he's going to check box scores to see what Travis Hunter did, just like all of you are. You're going to be checking. He only had 11 catches for 210. Great, and he had a pick that he returned. Awesome. And Kevin Coleman, you're going to check those too. Yeah, I mean, by the way, Isaiah Bolden's on that team.
Yeah, man. True Thompson's on that team. Yeah. Josh Griffiths is on that team. Lots of Florida State.
Tim
talent.
Brewster.
Is he? Yeah,
he's the tight ends coach.
Oh my gosh, Tim Brewster, go retire. You have a family, man. Come on.
Come on, man. He loves the job. He loves winning games. He loves being a part of it. But that said, thinking about that practice that we saw on Tuesday.
Give me some standout moments. Give me some stuff. Give me some juice.
Okay, let's see.
I didn't like period 17. Period 17 really got me upset. So
I don't remember what that was.
Man, period 17 they had perfect snap, dropped, and then they had 2 drops sandwiched between it. And then they go to period 18, John Wilson, John Football, back corner pylon. There's like 10 different things you could have done in that situation. The one thing is do not underthrow it.
Yeah.
And they underthrew it, and it got picked off. Shout out to Bernardo Green.
That was a moment where I was like, you know what? That's probably the best. And I know you're going to think I'm just putting silver lining on a really dark cloud. That was the best thing that could have happened to, let's just say, that particular quarterback. Because what you learn in that moment is you can't throw to him like a normal receiver.
Okay.
Because Renardo, and I only say this because I wrote about it already, so it's on Warchant. Renardo Green goes and makes that interception. He reads the play perfectly. He understands what's happening. He understands who the main target is, and he reads that play perfectly, and he goes and intercepts it. If you put that ball 1.5 feet or 2 feet higher, he doesn't have a chance at it.
Yeah.
He can't get it, but the guy you're throwing to does. And so the thought there is, okay, don't throw to him like he's Pokey. Don't throw to him like he's Keyshawn, and you got to hit him in the chest. That's not where we aim with this guy. You got to aim higher. That's a song, right, or a slogan. You got to aim higher. So get that ball up, because even though Renardo read it and knew what was coming, probably because he's seen it a few times, he knew what was coming, I think, in my opinion. He made a nice play. It was a really good read on his part. But if you throw that a couple feet higher or a little more out towards like the back wall, the only guy that can catch it is the 6'7" power forward that you're throwing to. He's more of a small forward that you're throwing to. And so I think that was a really good teachable moment. I really do. And then I thought that, but I also thought, Noles had a really nice breakup on Pittman in the end zone where that was a really competitive rep, and Noles won it. Pittman had a really nice catch earlier in the day between 2 guys. Really good throw from Jordan on that. But overall, man, it was one play, and it was something that I probably should have been noticing more than I have, and I guess I just don't. But they went back to one-on-ones, which I don't remember them doing in Jacksonville.
No, they didn't. They
didn't. And Deuce Spann had a I think it was against McCall, but it doesn't really matter because it wasn't like a long route. It wasn't a long play. It was like a little 5-yard whatever. But he had such a quick release off the line of scrimmage to shake.
You're gushing about that. I remember this.
I mean, you see that thing, and you're like, okay, it's not just, hey, Deuce, run as far down the field as you can, as fast as you can, because LSU, Clemson, I don't know, man, Florida, Miami, they're going to have physical corners, and they're going to get up on you and challenge you, especially you, Deuce Spann, because you played wide receiver for 9 days, essentially. They're going to challenge you and think that you can't handle bump and run, up in your face coverage. And my man shook a pretty good cornerback really quickly. And that's the stuff that gets me as excited as just the obvious speed and size that he has, because that's real wide receiver stuff. That's the stuff that plays. And the quick release and the catch, little short catch that he can turn into something, you start to think, man, okay, I know I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm still not there where I think he's going to have more than 15 catches. I don't know what this kid is going to be. But there is a chance he can be special. Like, if he can learn the position and become adept at the position, to have that guy on one side, 14 on the other side. Well, that's Johnny Wilson. You guys might not know his number because he never played, so I can't use numbers. Micah Pittman in the slot. If you might have legitimately 3 NFL dudes. They all have to reach their ceiling. They're not there yet. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. They have not done anything in a Florida State uniform. Deuce has 5 catches in his life.
Yeah, but
Johnny
2
Wilson
touchdowns,
has
like 2 touchdowns.
Well, he does.
Though,
It's a great
Deuce.
percentage.
Yeah.
But he has 5 catches in his life. Micah Pittman, Johnny Wilson, they have not done a ton at this level, but they are, in my opinion, NFL talents. And if they can become NFL players, and if Deuce Spann is a guy, that changes it all. That changes it all. That makes maybe Pokey your 4th guy.
Yeah,
but even if he
guy.
doesn't, if Deuce Spann can play 30 reps and give you real wide receiver reps, he is going to be somebody they have to roll coverage to. They just have to. There aren't going to be many corners in the country that can run with him. And those corners are going to be scared. And they are going to play off him. And I just think those kind of threats out wide are something they haven't really had. I guess Tamorian Terry was that guy, but there was nobody to go along with him on the other side. There was nobody really in the slot. Now they got guys in the slot. And I just think, I think I said it on the show, on the Sunday Night Smash maybe, that I think I might have said it about Johnny Wilson. I still believe it more about Johnny Wilson, that the season might hinge on him and how good he is, because he could be he should be a difference maker. He should be a guy that goes and gets you a touchdown, at least 1 touchdown every 2 games, and 1 huge 3rd down conversion every game. That should be his role at the very least. But Deuce Spann might be a guy that the season can hinge on. Because Aslan, we're allowed to dream. What if this guy is a 25 catch, 490 yard, 7 touchdown guy? That changes the offense. Imagine, like, this was my point that I finally got here. I finally found it, guys. I ran around the track a few times. I finally got there. You are going to face Clemson. You know how Clemson is going to defend you. They're going to do everything in their power to take away your running game, which means they take away Jordan Travis. They did a great job of it last year. Most defenses don't have the horses to take away Jordan Travis as a runner. Clemson does. They can take away your running game. The reason it was so effective is Florida State could not make them pay in the passing game. Now, are they going to risk one-on-one coverage with Deuce Spann and Johnny Wilson out wide? And more importantly, for the role for our purposes, can those 2 guys exploit it? Seeing just one little moment, man, just Deuce Spann shaking a dude off the line. That quick twitch, it's not just straight ahead speed. Johnny Wilson is not just jump up and catch it either. He's got some bend to him too. He's got some quick twitch where he's not just this plodding 6'7" guy that can't run. He's got some quick twitch to him. Can those guys win those one-on-one battles and turn a 6-yard gain into a 60-yard gain? Because then that changes how defenses have to defend them. And you can hit Clemson for 2 big plays. When you have the ball late in the game didn't they have the ball late in the game after the Jermaine Johnson touchdown, didn't they get the ball back?
Yeah.
With the lead?
Yeah. And they went 3 and out real quickly.
Of course they did, because Clemson was not in any way, shape, or form scared of the pass. So, on that 2nd down play, when it's 2nd and 8, you get man-to-man outside with Deuce Spann, maybe Pokey, I don't know, but Deuce Spann and Johnny Wilson and Micah Pittman in the slot, if he's in there, so one of those guys should be open, and maybe not just for a 1st down, but a game-ending touchdown. That's if these guys reach their potential. And I don't know why that occurred to me just watching one little one-on-one drill. Sorry, Sam McCall. I think you're going to be good, man.
Why do you call his name out?
I think I already did. I think
did.
I might have said that. And I can't. And I don't even know if that was right, but I think it was. But either way, watching Deuce Spann off the line of scrimmage when that one little burst, I'm like, man, okay. They haven't had a guy that's looked like that in a long time. They just haven't. Certainly not 3 or 4 guys like this. And Malik McLean's had a nice camp too. So anyway, just get us 8 wins, Mike. Just get. We want to be in a bowl. We don't even care where the bowl is. We don't want El Paso. We don't want Shreveport. Anywhere else we're fine with. Am I right, Aslan? You're on board with that.
I'll go back to El Paso. Speak for yourself. I like El Paso.
What that would mean, though, for the season.
Well, you want your 500 team at least.
That's
you're
all
at least,
I'm saying.
You're at least a 500 team. I would take that. Man, it's funny you said that. I mean, I don't want to go too overboard, but we should get out of here anyways. I don't want to go too optimistic. It's still only August. But there was a moment there watching Johnny Wilson where I'm just like, what if he goes out there and catches 65 for 1,200 and 10 touchdowns, and like we didn't call it, like right. we do a show every single day for an hour, and we were like, hey man, we like this guy, but we never definitively with our chest came out and said, dude, this guy is going to tear it up, watch out. Because if we're not going to stand on a table right now and shout for Johnny Wilson, like what are we waiting for? Like what do we need to see? I know you like the quarterback more than I like the quarterback. I don't think the quarterback is
that's it, though, right?
That much of a sort of a hinge. Sorry about that. I was trying to find a box score, and then anyhow. Because I'm trying to think, like, what we have seen in 2013. They're like, all right, Kelvin has finally turned the corner. Like, what would we have seen in practice that we could have been like, watch out, the light is on, it's on, it's coming, here he comes. This guy is an unstoppable force. I mean, Johnny Wilson is not an unstoppable force. But my goodness, man, he is catching all sorts of – he's running every route you could possibly want a wide receiver to run, and he's catching it most of the time. He had a drop on Tuesday. It happens. Everybody drops a ball every now and then unless you're not Jerry Rice. Like what do we need to see to stop being all wishy-washy, I'm not going to go that far with Deuce Spann. I like what Deuce Spann could possibly be, but like my daydream on Tuesday was – man, what if this guy goes and just goes off, and I can't take credit for, like, called it, because I was like, well, we'll see.
Man, I don't know. I think he ain't going to have 1,200 yards, but if he has a big season, I don't think anybody that's listened to this show over the last month would be like, man, those Warchant guys didn't predict this at all. I mean, we have talked about him a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's going to come out of nowhere. If I don't know who would. I was trying to think of who. Like maybe if Shaheem Brown becomes an all-ACC guy, that they could get on to us about that. But like we didn't hear about him much at all. What happened there? But Johnny Wilson, they've heard plenty about. And I would say, yeah. I think that again. I just think it matters to do it in front of people, not just 40 people standing on the sidelines, some media guys and some old players. Not old players, former players. That's where I think that is my only hesitancy when it comes to him, is just the health, staying healthy, and then doing it when it matters. And I same thing with Deuce, really. Deuce is more of an unknown. I think Johnny Wilson to me is known. I think if he's healthy, he is going to be a big part of this offense. I'm still not sure about Deuce, but I dare to dream because of the measurables and the skills. And again, it's just fun. You think about what this program has been like 2 years ago, where you had nothing but 5'10" guys throwing the ball into the end zone of them. And now you've got a dude at 6'3", 210 that runs like the wind, that looks like an NFL first-round pick. Just his body type and his skills. I'm not saying he's going to be one, obviously, but Deuce Spann looks like the guys that go early in the NFL draft. And then you got another guy that's 6'7" that just is a matchup nightmare. And then Micah Pittman is he's one of your most talented guys. And you dare to dream about what it could be if they reach their potential. But again, I don't foresee this team, even with what I've just said, I don't foresee this team being a pass first team. I still think run is the identity. I think they're going to run first. I think they're going to throw off the run. I don't expect them to have a 1,000-yard receiver. It would be awesome if they had 3 650-yard receivers. That would be good news.
Ooh. Tingled a little bit there. A little tingle.
Just throwing it out there, gang. And I would not let Deuce Spann leave the field in that opener in week 0 until he has 7 catches.
Okay.
I would throw him the ball as many times as possible. My magic number is 7. I want him to get 7 catches in that game, or at least let's say 5. He equals his career total in that one game. He does not get to leave the field. I don't care if there's screens. I don't care if you're just taking shots the whole time. I want him to leave with 5 catches at least. He doesn't get to leave the field and go take his helmet off and put on a baseball hat until he's got 5.
Okay.
Because I think he's going to be that big a part of I think he could be that big a part of your offense.
He's also 6'4", so let's get that figured out, Corey.
What, I keep saying 6'3"?
Yeah.
Come on, Clark.
There's a big
and Johnny
difference
Wilson's
there.
6'7", right?
Yeah. If there's a big 6'3" to 6'4", if I was Yeah, I feel like after 6'1", like I'm gonna fight for every inch. Like
people get pretty like we're in my size, 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". Who cares, man? You're short, or you're average at best. 6'3", 6'4", I get it. You want to keep climbing the ladder a little bit, I think. So I don't want to shortchange the guy. Yeah. But man, wait till you see him run, everyone. Just wait till you see him run. Hopefully you get to see it a lot.
Yeah, think so. All right, good show. 1 to 3 o'clock, Jeff Cameron has a show. It's called The Jeff Cameron Show. It'll be on 93.3 FM in Tallahassee as well as Warchant TV. That's our YouTube channel. You should hit the thumbs up if you made it this far. Post in the comments, made it this far, guys. That'd be cool. Subscribe to warchant.com. Ultimate Seminole Sports Source, $1 for a whole year. We'll be back with a live show, 6 p.m. tonight, Corey and myself. And then we'll open up Renegade Express probably Thursday morning, like around 8 a.m. We'll put the thread on the Tribal Council, keep it open for maybe 4 or 5 hours, and that'll be the show that we'll cut for Friday. So we got it all going on here. Camp's wrapping up, but we're just getting started. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.